All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you
Hello,
so
folks.
much. Thank you so much for being patient with us. We appreciate you so much. But today we're talking about Tristan Strong punches a hole in the sky. Woo, woo.
Punches had to happen.
Punches had to happen.
Yep.
Okay, we have Venus here. Venus here. Finished the book
Hello.
5 minutes ago. Yes.
Oh, so
Love
I guess
it.
us coming in late was right on time.
And then Michelle. Hi, Michelle. Floor's here.
Hello.
Yes, Floor, get yourself a snack.
Yep.
Standing right next to the stove, still burning my toast.
Listen, no judgment here.
You know, it happens.
Totally understand.
You know, like sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm just going to check Twitter really quick. And then you look up and your toast is burnt.
Yep. That's usually how it starts. Burnt
It's
toast.
a talent, Jesus. How in the world did you do that?
I burn my toast when I have it and it's like a thin slice. And
yeah.
I'd be like, why did you cut the bread like less than like it's a centimeter in diameter and thickness? I mean, and I'd just be like, one job.
Sometimes I cut the bread too thick and I'm like, that's a thick sandwich.
Thickiana. Guess what came in the mail today?
What?
My griddle.
Oh yes, awesome! I got my waffle maker. Yes,
Oh, you did?
I was able to pick up the air fryer. My Target had it, so I was able to pick up the air fryer. But then my waffle maker came in today, so I'm like,
nice, noise.
Hello. Oh, it's you, Black Panther. I changed my name. It's me, William. Hi, thank you so much for coming. I know you've been. I know you were waiting for this series. You were waiting for it.
Yep, and it's here.
Hi, Cool Gamer.
Hello.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I think Cool Gamer is Michelle's son, right? Is that a memory or am I blanking?
No, this is Michelle's son.
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah.
Cool Gamer, you are not the son I thought. So, and that's on period. Sometimes things happen.
Love having this is my first time owning an air fryer, and honestly, I've made at least one thing in the air fryer since the day I got it. So it's like anything I can make in there, I'm gonna make in there.
Listen, and as you should. And I love receiving the recipes and the pictures that go along with it.
I was like, I made this Mongolian beef. It would probably be really good with chicken.
Listen, I showed my friend and she said, "Ooh, send me that." And I sent it to her. Yeah. She was like, "She made that in the air fryer?" I was like, "Yeah."
Yep. The beef, like in the air fryer, it just got so crispy, but it was still really tender and juicy. I was like,
listen, now that I know that you can do that, so Ethiopian food is like one of my faves. Like, and I would say if we go down to the tribes, it would be like Oromo food, Tigray food. Even though like Tigray, I hope I'm saying it right, folks, my friends who I've like ate food with them, they typically eat a lot of raw meats, but it's like prepared in a way that it is so good. Like people be like, raw meats, I'm gonna die. I'm like, chill, like it's gonna be fine. So that, and then Amhedic, I would say, or like the folks that I know, like when I'm thinking about food. But I will say, there is, I think Amhedic folks make awatibs. People, I think, make awatibs too. So awatibs or dorowat, they make that too. So dorowat is like this sauce, this red sauce with a boiled egg and chicken and like marinated together. And like the the egg don't break, it's whole. But it's, you eat it with injera and oh my God, it is so good. And then awatibs or zilzil-tibs I love too, and that is made with awatibs is like It's lamb, but it's like cooked the way you're saying this Mongolian chicken came out in the air fryer. And zilzil tips is cooked like more sauteed, like lightly with a bunch of veggies and stuff. And you also eat that with injera. But let me tell you, every time I go, I know how to make dorowat. Wat tips, I still haven't like tried to master that, but my dorowat is really good. But other than that, I just be like, look, hey, how y'all doing? Especially that we're in Eid Mumberik in the past, so I'm my Muslim folks. And I'm telling you, Eid come around, I be acting like I participated. No, I didn't. I'm here for the food.
Ooh, it sounds so
here
good.
For the food. So I say all that to say that was my long thing.
It sounds so good. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe how good it came out. I'm like obsessed.
Ooh.
As soon as I get a better kitchen, I'm getting all the appliances. Yes.
Literally, I feel like I should open up my griddle. I have it. It's just in the box.
You should.
I'm looking at it. It's looking at me.
You're just like, hey.
I'm like, hi. How you doing?
We missed you too, Michelle.
I know you ghosted us. If you didn't want to be our friend, you should have said that. You head out on us. You left us in the cold.
She really was just waiting for Tristan Strong.
For nothing to keep us warm at night. No, I'm just kidding. Totally kidding.
Bree sounds like my mom growing up around her Muslim neighbors. She loved the food.
That's me. Every time. My friend be like, Bree, I'm like, your mom never not to invite me. Stop acting like you don't know what's going on. And you always go, I don't understand you and my mom. I don't understand me and his mom. His mom doesn't know a word of English. But we be having a full conversation like we know what's going on. I swear to God. Like every time I'm with her, I'm speaking English and I be thinking I'm catching up on the clues. And he'd be like, how are you catching what she's saying? Like in my mind, I'd be like, yeah, exactly. That is too expensive for chicken. Absolutely. You know what I mean? Like,
and he's just like, how are you understanding this?
He's like, how are you speaking on? Like, he's like, I don't get how you're. I'm like, look, me and your mom, we got a thing going on. And every time I go, I'd be like, you get me. And she always makes me, what is it called? It's berbere. It's like Ethiopian like spice. But Oromo people have one that is darker and it's like spicier. And I'd be like, you trying to make some for me or what? Your second daughter?
Second daughter.
So, I mean, she actually has 12 kids, but I'd be sliding in just with my black self like, hey.
Just number 13, just here I am.
Never, I'm chilling. We together. I'll be right there. So, it's nothing. It's nothing. Yeah. But
Michelle says, nothing shall keep us apart.
Yeah, that's what they say until they abandon you in the streets of mayhem. No, I'm just kidding. I'm totally kidding.
Mayhem.
I'm just kidding.
It's been
This sun
mayhem
is really
without
coming
you.
from my life. It don't matter where I move in this living room, the sun is coming from my life.
It's either in your face or right here.
It's hitting me with the side piece. I don't know, but yeah. Yeah.
YouTube reminder is a whole lie and not honestly, like it's supposed to remind you like 30 minutes before you go live, and then sometimes I always get it like 30 minutes after the fact, or sometimes I don't even get it at all. It's ridiculous.
It's very rare I get a notification from my settings about YouTube, but I feel like there has to be, maybe there's a user error that no one knows of, similar to Instagram. People are like, I'm not seeing people threads, and then they had to go and do that like little thing, arrow thing. So maybe that's what's happening. Like people.
Yeah, maybe.
Now it's on my whole face.
Just scoot over just a little bit, but if you're leaning, you're comfortable.
It said maybe it's melanin.
you just needed the vitamin D.
Clearly.
Well, we read this wonderful book, Tristan Strong.
I'm like, where's my copy? Sorry. underneath the covers, underneath my dress.
You're in the sun and are you wearing a blanket?
It's cold.
It's cold. Okay. It's gonna be 100 degrees tomorrow. The first 100-degree day in Phoenix is tomorrow. So very excited about that. But
I'm glad I missed that.
yeah, I know. You left at the perfect time because it just got hot, after like you left. But so yeah, Tristan Strong. And I told you I had high hopes for this. I anticipated this being a 5-star read.
And it was a 6-star read.
And it was is a 10-star, is a 100-star read.
It was giving everything. Also, just in case if y'all don't know, me and Nicole finally met each other like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, we did. Photo proof is on her Instagram.
I have a little bit of a vlog I'm gonna put somewhere to give y'all proof, because let's be real, I was tired and my feet was hurting. But
we didn't record as much as we wanted to.
No, we were chatting it up for the most part. But this is Tristan Strong. Punch is a hole in the sky. I don't know why that took me too long to say.
You're trying to read it backwards, I think. I don't know.
I know. I was like, oh, what is that? What is that? What is that?
But this is the washi tape. I sent Brie a picture of this, but this is the washi tape I used. It has the stars. It has the pink, purples, and blues, just like the cover. And I'm just like, this is perfect washi tape.
Nice.
William said, I love that book. Yes, it's so good. Have your copy next to you. Awesome. I was set on buying the series, but they didn't have it in the store when I went. I'm trying to look this weekend. I was actually very fortunate because when Barnes & Noble was having the 50% off hardcovers, I was able to get, myself the 3 books in the series. And I think I got you the 3 books.
I also have the 3 books in the series. Yep. Yes. So that's how we're doing that. We're going to do a small pitch of the book, and then we'll talk about the book.
Yeah. Right? Small pitch. Go ahead. Go for it.
So it starts off with our boy Tristan. Our boy Tristan out here living his life. He's trying to be a heavyweight champion like his family, right? Even though he's a little shaky on it, but he is trying to most definitely be a heavyweight champion like his family, right? So then Tristan's out here living his life with his best friend. They are best friending it to the up-teen degree, you understand? Mm-hmm. And then tragic befalls them. Best friend dead. So now that the best friend is gone, he is left with a journal. And in this journal, him and the best friend was sharing words, telling stories, putting it all into these stories, being very theatrical, if you will. And he is like, man, all I have is this journal of the stories that I wrote with my bestie. And then out of nowhere, he gets plunged into darkness. And then
into darkness.
Into darkness. And then he has to figure out how he's going to be able to attribute to the world essentially being threatened, right? But to its core, as I put on my Instagram post, this is a story about grief and loss and how to heal through that grief and loss. So that is pretty much what is going down. And it's inspired, like it's Black American and also African folklore just coming together as a group and getting their wiggle on. And I love to see it. I love to see it. And that is what's going down. I hybrid read. I read the physical copy while listening to it.
I did the same. Yes. And the audiobook narrator was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
Yeah. Especially when Uncle C was introduced. I was like, whoo. And then Gum Baby.
Gum Baby.
Perfect. That's how I pictured Gum Baby in my mind.
Let me tell you, Gum Baby, I love Gum Baby so much, even though she scared me just a little bit when she was first introduced, because she's a doll. And she kind of like, Tristan was looking around because he's hearing stuff, and he's hearing something, and it's like pitch black out because it's, the middle of the Alabama wilderness, and there's no lights, there's no city lights, right? So it's It's dark.
It's
So he
really
can't
dark.
see. He's looking around. He has his flashlight. He's looking, and it comes across this doll's face. And this doll just looks at. I'm like, ah!
I was like, this is the
This is the end.
end. I said, you can't come back from that. I said, if this is going to be a Chucky situation, nobody told me, and I might have to head out because I don't think I signed up for the Chucky stuff.
No,
I just don't think I signed up for the Chucky stuff.
I was terrified. I was like, oh my gosh! Like, please don't be a villain.
No,
Because
I'm like, please don't let that be
oh my
you. You
gosh,
know.
Vina didn't like Gum Baby. You didn't like Gum Baby? Dang, bruh.
That's
You
why I
relate
love
to
this
these?
book. Yeah. Yeah.
Relate to the characters. I
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah.
Gum Baby,
But
I was
had
dying
me
laughing.
dying. How did you not like Gum Baby?
Oh, I'm so confused,
You
Vina. How
can't
could
be
you
a
not like
hater
Gum
all
Baby?
your life.
Hater.
You cannot. You cannot hate on Gum Baby.
As long as
Also,
I didn't think of her as a doll, everything was okay. Okay, same.
straight,
It's just
straight
that
up. I kept
first,
thinking she was a fur rabbit, and that's what I had to go with. Just a little fur rabbit.
honestly, the only time like they really like described her like having doll-like features was when she was first introduced, right? Everything else, like she had the sap, and honestly, every time she was like sap attack, I was dying laughing. I was like, oh my gosh, you are she's like double sap attack.
What
But
I found,
I just kind of saw her as like a baby Groot, like that's her because she had like sap, right? Like trees. So
yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
she's just baby Groot in my head
Oh
from
no,
now on.
I don't know why I was giving her this adorable rabbit, and I don't know. I just had to go with that imagery.
Whatever helped you, whatever helped you
Whatever
get
helped
on.
me get through the day,
Yeah.
right? But what I will say about Gum Baby, what I love the author, Kwame, I think he did a really good job with landing the jokes like right on time. And I often felt like Gum Baby, like every time Tristan corrected her when she spoke, I wanted to be like, shut up, dude, because I had burning passion. People know I don't give a flying blank about the colonizers' language. And if you haven't heard me say that before, I don't know where you have been because
Where have
I
you been?
say that all the time. So when people try to correct me when I speak, I'll be like, literally, you caught what I was pushing out. If you have the forethought or the cognitive ability to correct me when I'm speaking, that means you understand me even in my era. So
Exactly.
you telling me that I made an error is really not helping the stars align in Mars, and I don't give a flying blank. But every time Tristan came for her and then she came for him, I was like, yes, especially precautionary. Oh, when I thought about it, I said, that's some funny stuff right there. Like, that
Pre-confident.
is some funny stuff right there. And then how everybody kept like saying it, even to the end of the book. Precautionary tale was like put back in again. I just kept highlighting. Most
It's
of
a
the
word now.
highlights are like just jokes from Gum Baby that I thought was hilarious.
Yeah.
So yeah.
She was fantastic. Yeah. She honestly, she matched energy and she was just like, "Oh, okay." It's like she's
Yeah.
always like she's like, "Oh, you want to fight? Okay, sap attack, sap attack." I was like, "I
True.
love you so much."
True.
Gum Baby's sassy jokes were too much at times. It started giving caricature. I had a great time.
Really? It was giving caricature?
I thought she was a great comic relief because honestly, like with Tristan's almost grief and like almost depression about, and his guilt about losing his friend, his best friend, and kind of feeling like he called himself, it's like my last name should be anything but strong, coward, things like that because he was like he left his friend because he didn't want to die. And it's like so that like his grief like that, I feel like Gum Baby's lines were just really greatly timed, especially giving like it's supposed to be kind of like a lighthearted middle grade book. And so like Gum Baby really provided that comedic relief. Otherwise it would have gotten like really, really heavy and like super sad. Even though yes, it is sad, like he lost his best friend, but I feel like Gum
Yeah.
Baby's role was the comedic relief for sure.
For me, in an odd way, I attribute Gum Baby's characteristic traits to oh my God, it's like Dobby did this. Dobby didn't want to hurt HP. And Dobby, like it was just like speaking of themselves and in third person and being so little but still wanting to help.
Yes.
Like it made me think of that. And then also like from the Ring, that little alien from the Ring to the Lord of the Rings.
Yes.
So I just kept thinking of like those similarities.
If y'all remember that Disney show, Casey Undercover, the little girl that played the robot would make a good Gum Baby. I don't know that show.
I remember the show, never watched the show, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I know this show exists.
Mhm.
And I think Keke Palmer was like the person in this show. Like
okay.
I could be lying. I'm actually just
I'm gonna believe you.
We're gonna hold on to that.
I'm gonna believe you.
We're gonna hold on to that because I'm like
how Gum Baby would say she saved the day. Yes. Yeah. Yes.
and now she would be like, I'm gonna slap all these people and beat all these people up. And I also thought it was funny because, you know, there's this stereotype that short people just be acting like they about to, even short, like tiny dogs, just be yapping all over the place. And you're like, literally chill out. Somebody can kick you in a garbage can and you'll be done. You know what I mean? Like, just chill out. So
it's a little dog. It's a little dog complex, you know?
Yeah. Even when they got caught and, you know, Tristan had to try to convince those people who had the box of the, I forget, but the box.
The story, the story box.
The story box to like fight with them. She was still like, listen, I will fight y'all. And even she was like, this is the worst heist I ever been on, or something like that.
No.
And Tristan was like, you've been on many heists? Yeah, this one, and you know, it's like, it's so funny.
That one part when it's at the very end, but when they were like reveal because you know Burr Rabbit wasn't really Burr Rabbit, and she was just like, it was me, I ate the biscuit, I knew it was John's, but I ate it and it was
I was cracking up on that too. I was like, look, Gum Baby is living her best. I hope she's in book 2. I don't know to what capacity. Like, Vina, if you're still here, did you read book 2 yet? Or you're like reading along with us?
William said I was afraid to correct her and I was only reading the book. Honestly, I would rather have Gum Baby on my side for sure.
Yeah. Everything.
When they were in the boat and he literally was just like spread eagle and like sap so he wouldn't go anywhere. It was Zendaya played in that show. Oh, okay.
Zendaya, I was like, it was a skinny black girl. That's what I knew. And on my mind, I was like, Kiki, Zendaya, it's another character. It's another skinny black girl. She played in a show recently with Zendaya, but I keep forgetting her name. So I knew it was one of those like childhood skinny black actresses, but I couldn't remember who played it. I just knew it was one of them.
I'm sure young readers will love Gum Baby, but especially in the audio, it started getting annoying for me.
I can understand that, the voice.
Yeah, kind of like making that higher pitched, almost raspy.
Pitch, for sure.
You know, to each their own, Vina, for sure.
Yeah. Usually what I try to do when I read books is try to be like, especially if they're middle grade, is try to go in it with, and I know I can't go in it with my middle grade like age mind, but I try to go in with that, and sometimes that helps the annoyance because
you just gotta kind of put your head in that kind of situation where you're like, okay, I'm not reading an adult book, I'm reading middle grade. So
yeah, and let me tell you, it don't always work, Vina, because there are some books I'll be like, you know what, this kid and their teenage angst, I'm about to lose my cool. Like, I'm about to start flipping. No, but yeah, I definitely, it's rough. Don't get me started. Oh, do I have that? Because every time you show a map, I never have the map.
I never have it. You should have it. Yeah. I love when fantasy stuff has maps. I love it.
That's the map right there.
That's the
Red Slam, the horn,
mm-hmm.
the burning sea, mid-pass, the thickets, into the thick of it. Oh,
That is exactly what I thought of every time they said thicket. I was like, into the thick of it.
Dripping through the mud, on we push.
Flora said I had the audio, and there were a couple of times when it was too much. Okay.
I have been there.
The nickname Gum Baby gave Tristan had me crying laughing when she called him Bubble Tongue.
Oh, yes. Bubble Tongue took me out. I underlined that too. I was like, Bubble Tongue? What? Can we talk about a scene?
Yes.
Just for a second.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
Those of y'all who have the book, if you could just go ahead to page 121.
121.
Yeah.
Follow and as I take you to one
on this journey. But it's really from 121 to 123. So this is after he's first getting introduced to this world, and they are treating him shitty. Okay.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes.
And they are really talking over him and being like typical adults ignore the child. And when he said, "You don't know anything about me. You have no idea who I am." And people are like, "Tristan, you know, something's happening. Maybe you should calm down." And then he goes, "You don't know anything. You only see what you want to see. You sent somebody to steal from a boy because you wanted something. But did you see that boy? Did you know he had lost a friend? And not just a friend, but his best friend, his brother, his partner, his road dog, his say no more, no words necessary homie until the end? Did you know that all this boy had left of his friend was a book, a single book that they had worked on together, collecting the stories they had loved hearing as kids, their big project, their shared thoughts, right? Did you know?" And he said, "Did you know?" again. And he said, "Can you picture that boy in a strange place? And that book is the only thing reminding him of home and good times. And someone steals it? That's right. Somebody breaks in and steals the only good thing that boy has left. Can you imagine it?" And then he goes, "Can you picture it? Can you picture it?" And then everybody realized that he's an Anansi person.
Yes.
I was almost driven to tears.
I was crying. I was like, "Oh my God." I was like, crying.
I said, that's an Academy Award.
Yes, absolutely.
Academy Award. And another thing that I loved about this series.
I was like, sad face.
I know. Another thing I loved about this series that differs from the other series that we read with what is it called? Other series that we've read of Rick Warden or in the Rick Warden Presents is this. These are a couple of my complaints. One of my complaints have always been, damn, these gods is expecting kids to do something they can't do shit. In this book, they were like, look, you have to do that and you have to do that. Like, who's going to help him? We need somebody to help. Like, they were helping him, like, solve the situation, right? Then another thing, I'm always like, man, the parents is just don't give a shit, whatever. Because the way time is set up, he didn't really miss anything. They would have just thought he was just sleeping that night.
Yeah.
So, and his parents are very involved. His grandparents are very involved, and his parents are very involved. And and I also love that most of the characters are Black. Yeah. So for me,
yes, I love it.
You did that. You did that.
And I also, just to kind of speak on what you were saying about how in every book we had this problem of, the gods just letting the demigods, their children, just do everything, and just sitting in, their heaven, not even really coming down and explaining things and explaining situations, and not just being zero help at all.
Yeah.
What I really loved, like, yes, they were able to help when they could. And if they couldn't, they had legitimate reasons. I mean, the one, he was poisoned. He was literally like paralyzed from poison. He's like, I can't do anything. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I can't. So, And they explained that, like, not that I won't, like, I could probably do this, but I'm not going to. They had legitimate reasons why they could not help at that point in time, why they weren't at their full strength or whatever the reason was. And what I love about Tristan is I feel like Tristan had the backbone that I wish all the other demigod children did, because he was in their face saying, you are the god. You are. Why aren't you doing this? Why are you having me, a literal child, do this? And I'm just like, every time he said that to somebody, I was like, yes, yes. Ask. Like,
Call
why?
them out. Call them
Yeah,
out. Yeah.
absolutely.
I also am very interested to see how his relationship with John Henry will, like, what will happen there. And I also trying to figure out, like, how did this man have 150 some fights, the old man, whatever, Mr. Rollins, and then didn't, like, lose. I was still like
152-0. He was like, what?
And I'm like, how did, and nothing? Like, so I don't know.
But I like towards the end, like Tristan was like, I'm the new Mr. Rollins now. It's like, I'm ready for like anything. It's like, I'm not going to lose. I'm not going to, and I was like, that's awesome,
Yeah. And maybe that's the thing. Like, he had it in his mind, like, I'm not, like, losing is not an option.
Right.
I will overcome every obstacle.
Right.
And that's probably why he won all those fights. I don't know.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah, absolutely. It's motivation. It's the stakes. Like, what do you have to lose? Like, if you do lose, what's going to happen,
Yeah.
Flores, like, Tristan called them out and he was like, why are you so useless? Exactly.
Yeah.
To their face.
Yeah. And because of the car ride and his grandma's reaction to that spider symbol, I think she's involved.
Absolutely.
Or his family is in some way.
I definitely thought that since she could see the symbol, she could also see it glowing, because it was glowing at one point in time. And so I was like, I think she could see the glow for sure.
Yeah. So
I loved how his parents and grandparents knew how much he's suffering and want to help him out.
Yeah.
I like that too. His parents knew he was very, he was suffering and he was, depressed, and they're like, go to your grandparents and, just spend time out, get your mind off of it. And, the grandpa, right? Grandpa, has anybody had a grandpa like this where, everything like he did when he was a kid, it's like, I had to walk uphill in the snow both ways to school. Like, I feel like that was literally everybody's grandpa.
And my grandpa's, no, I would say no. They just like, both of my grandpas, I just remember them just completely doting over me, like, just thinking I hung the moon.
Good. Because like I never knew my grandparents. So my dad was like that. He was just like, I walked uphill both ways to school in the snow, and when his grandfather was just like, we have a lot of work to do, and Tristan was just like, my grandpa's solution for everything was work. Like, oh, you're feeling bad? Work. It's like, oh, you're talking too much? Here's some work. Oh, here's like and honestly, like, on an Alabama farm or on a farm really anywhere, you really have work until the sun goes down. You really do.
Got work to do. Yeah, I was just like, man, that was an interesting grandpa, because my father's father was always like, oh, just come in here and talk to me. He's all had a beer. He's just like, come here and talk to me, and he would just talk to me, and then he would always try to figure out a way to get me food. And then my other grandpa was similar, but he would cook. He always cooked. So he would always try to make sure he had food for me, and pecans, because he had a pecan tree in the backyard, and I loved pecans. So he would have pecans ready for me every time I saw him. So, like, and he just would dote. He would just want to be around me and talk to me and ask me how I'm doing and things like that. So, like, I don't, which I think is funny, because a lot of my cousins talk about how my grandpa whooped them and how he was hard. And I was like,
he's like, not to me. I've never seen that.
I don't know that live. Maybe he was like, material girl to me. I don't know, but I don't know that life. Like my cousin's always like, girl, grandpa did this and did that. I'm like, Papa ain't never did that to me. Never.
Oh. There was also a couple things, couple of instances in the book where Tristan was remembering of the times where he had been told to quote unquote man up or stop crying or something like that. And that's very rough, especially, and it's a very generational thing. My father, like I've probably seen my father cry one time in my entire life. So like that's just something that, they teach boys and men now. It's like if you show emotion, you're weak. Don't do that, kind of thing. And it's almost like in that situation, like he couldn't grieve. He couldn't expand his grief and get over, not necessarily get over it, but feel it so his body could heal. And that's what, like, he had to go on this journey because he was, he ended up seeing Eddie again. And then he ended up having that really sweet moment where they were just like, your grief, the pain you're feeling is your body healing. You have to
Yeah.
feel it and accept it. And I love that scene too. And it's like he had to go on this journey because I feel like where he was at, either with his parents or with his grandparents, there's a male figure in his life where it's like, stop crying, kind of thing. And so I was like, I really love that he was able to do that and not just, go and save the world and everything, but also heal because he just couldn't do it where he was at, unfortunately.
Yep. The
Yes, I
fact
love that too. The fact that a lot of the characters were black, it really made me feel valued and seen. If that absolutely, it makes sense. Absolutely.
I'm here with you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was more old school because he's like, and whatever his grandpa had to do, like I was saying, like grandpa, if anything was wrong, work could fix it.
Yep. He's
Work.
like, oh, you need to get up and work. And even grandma was like, oh, be gentle. But when you get home, you got work to do.
like she was like, yeah, it's like ease into it, rest, but that fence does need mending. Yeah,
Yeah.
that fence.
She's like, I still need you to go feed the cows, walk the dog, and do all that other extra stuff. I said, look, grandma said, look, I feel you. You hurt, but you still gonna work this land.
You got to
Like
pull your
that.
weight when you're
You
staying with
gotta
us.
pull in work. You're not gonna be just hanging out over here. You're not hanging out over here. Not in my crib. There will be no hanging about happening. And that's on period.
Flora agrees with us with the grandma because she did tell those stories. Like she was a very integral part of getting those stories in that book to begin with.
Yeah.
So, and I also love that. I love that when Eddie first met Tristan and he was talking about these stories and, like a lot of these stories aren't written down. They're passed by word of mouth, And so the fact that Eddie took on that kind of responsibility and that mantle to like, I'm going to preserve these stories any way that I can. And I just think that is amazing because a lot of cultures, I think we were talking about this, or maybe it was with Cache, but R.M. Virtues, he's indigenous Mexican and he has family members that, speak their language and they're the only ones and they're older generations. No one else knows how to speak it. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, when they die, that language will die with them. And it's
Oh
like,
man.
that's so
It's so
like,
sad. I have
God,
so
it's so
many friends
sad.
like that. I have a friend, her grandma is from I think maybe almost the most southern part in India.
Okay.
And the language is literally dying, and her grandma's
Mm-hmm.
generation is the only generation that knows it. So she
Mm-hmm.
was saying like there's not more than like 30 or 40 people who knows the language.
Wow.
In like the village in which her family is from.
Wow. Yeah. And
No, like
that's so sad.
that's sad. I'd be like, no, bring it back.
Bring
I
it
have an
back.
ear for languages, so I'd be wanting to like take all the languages, and I'd be like,
Yeah.
no, it's not fair.
Mm-hmm. It isn't. Yeah. It's like, it's just like it'll be a dead language and there's going to be no written history of it. And oh, that's terrible.
Yeah.
Of course, when all you do is work, you have no downtime to think. That's true. And that's honestly how a lot of people handle stuff. Like, oh, I just got to stay busy, 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 busy. So I don't think about the bad,
Yeah.
And
And
it's
the
kind
thing
of
is,
preventing yourself from healing too.
it kind of, it is, sometimes it's okay to take a break and like lose yourself in a coping skill, to just take a break from the rumination. But at some point, that break is going to be avoidance. And that's not what we want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. William said, yes, I love that because I feel men should be able to show emotions too. Absolutely. Yes. I mean, we wouldn't have them if we weren't meant to feel them, you know?
Yeah, that's true. That's
I had to
true.
go back to that line about grief and make a note on it. Chapter 42. Yes.
Yeah.
I put a sticky. I put a washi tape. So
Let me see if I did.
chapter 42.
Yeah. Or did I do it in my mind?
You're just like, yes.
Yeah.
Remember that.
Yeah. Oh, I only underlined it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't put a
washi.
Yeah.
Or a sticky. I like the scenes. Oh, hold on. A lot of the MGs I've read with Black characters have dealt with grief and loss too. Yeah, the middle grade. Yeah, it's. Yeah.
I mean, unfortunately, I can understand historically why those would be, themes, because, I always say to be Black or Indigenous in America is to have an intimate relationship with grief.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So it makes sense. And that's just like what I say. I just feel like there is so many, if not all, Black communities in the United States and Indigenous communities in the United States, from a historical point of view, have experienced a tremendous amount of grief and loss. And we continue to, but it's being wrapped up or resold or rewritten in a way that people is trying to hide their atrocities when it still is atrocious. So to me, to be Black and Indigenous is to have a intimate knowledge, an intimate relationship with grief.
Oh yeah, and the fact that you do have such an intimate, that it's a part of your actual DNA now, that you have that predisposition to, and that was like, that's
Yeah.
flabbergasting.
People you gotta learn more about how stuff is passed down. That trauma is passed down, man. It's in that DNA.
Yeah.
I like that scene with Yep.
I love their memories, just meeting and, them being, together as friends. And then also that scene, towards the end where he sees like his spirit for like the last time. He's like, Eddie, or he was saying, like Eddie was saying to Tristan, like, this is it. This is kind of like the last time I'll be seeing you, and the fact that he didn't hold any grudges. He didn't even bring up the fact that, Tristan left him in the bus. He didn't, because he doesn't think that way. It was just total, like, I'm glad to see my best friend, but you need to feel your grief and you need to move on and just remember us, as we were. So, and it makes you happy. But I just like, almost like, I don't blame you. There's no way on this earth and any other earth or realm or multiverse that I could blame you for anything. And that was just really beautiful.
It was. I was like, oh, here we are.
Tears. Tears. Yeah, for sure. Seeing the memories with Eddie. Yeah. Agree with you. Yeah. Hi, Erin.
Hello.
My favorite scene in the book was when John, Henry, and Tristan joined forces against the Iron Monsters during the big battle.
Oh, yeah.
The action scenes were great. Fantastic. I love them.
And I'm just like, Rick, take notes. That's probably why you had this as a present. So, like, finally, there's gods who are doing work too.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Absolutely. He's probably kicking himself. He read the manuscript for this, because he was in the presents, and he was like, "Dang, you know what? At least one book I should have had a god fight."
I gotta have one series that's happening.
Well, with Apollo, the Trials of Apollo, even though he wasn't a quote unquote god, he was, Lester Papadopoulos, but still, that was a great series too. And it was gods actually taking responsibility for the stuff that they put their demigod children through.
Man, them Greek goddesses and gods were on some shit.
Yeah. They were just like, can't be bothered.
Yeah, they're like, you can do it. I'm gonna watch Thor. No, I'm gonna watch Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones.
And I
Yeah.
was like, did Thor just say that?
Yeah.
Oh,
He's like, I'm just gonna go run and fart
yeah.
my entire life.
Yeah, I'm gonna just watch the Game of Thrones. And
Oh.
it's gonna be fine. Man, we all
Oh.
can't be Apollo or Magnus Chase, so
We can't. We can't.
right.
That's why they're favorites, you know.
Yep.
um.
I feel like bad because we've talked about everything that I wanted to talk about.
Don't feel bad. Why would you feel bad?
Because I was like, oh, maybe I would have other things. But yeah, just a lot of me underlining like things for memory in the future. And like, because I thought page 2090 of 2,294 was a real good like review on what's going on so far.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I underlined a lot of gum baby jokes.
Yes.
Precautionary measures just took me out, and I just couldn't get past it.
It's a word now. It's a word.
Yeah. Or when she like showed up trying to look fierce.
Yeah.
With the feathers.
Yes. She had the feathers on her back. She's like, yep, this is me.
Watch out, y'all. I said that's funny.
Michelle asked, what was your thoughts about the bone ships?
I don't know if I gave it much thought.
Yeah.
I did think that there were parts in this story that to me was like trying to get you to understand the legacy of slavery and that grief.
Yeah.
And I did think that the bone ships was kind of like that. And also when John Henry was telling Tristan about boss. I don't know if y'all remember that
Yes.
that part. And he was like, just boss. Period. That's in the discussion. If boss wants you to do this at this time, do it at that time. And then at that time, when the boss section came up, it made sense to me because I remember a time there was like a auntie of mine when I was like, my boss is getting on my nerves. And she was like, do not say that. That's your supervisor. And then I was like, yeah, supervisor boss. She was like, no, that's your supervisor. And then she like, walked me through why I shouldn't say boss.
Yeah.
Black person.
Yeah.
And this was like, I don't know, 15 years maybe ago. And like every time I see boss or people be like, I'm a boss and all that, I'll be like, ooh, so
different meanings, or like the meanings of this word is different for everybody, and it's just like, and you're not really, unless you're, you're experiencing that, or, you have, ancestral and generational trauma and things like that, about how this word can be. And he even said something about like Mr., I think too, because I think Tristan called him Mr., and he was like, I only called one man Mr., and I'm not calling anybody that. No one should calling me that. So.
Yeah, John Henry did say that. I underlined that too. Yeah, I was just like, wow, And then also when I was thinking about like other things John Henry was talking to him about, I was like, he's letting him know like we've experienced loss, but there's resiliency within that loss. I kept thinking about, even though I also think the word resilient is weaponized towards Black communities. I tend to hate that word with a burning passion. Hate it so much, especially towards Black women, because I'm like, why can't we just do basic shit? Like, why can't we just be basic? Like, I
Well,
was telling Ashley recently
uh-huh.
from the bookish realm how
Mhm,
and I'm just telling you what I said, not the
mhm,
conversation,
right.
but I was talking to her about like sometimes it is really intimidating in the book community because like I want people to be like, yes, I want to participate in Breeze read along or book thing, and I'd be wanting more people to participate, and I get
Mhm,
really excited. Like my favorite thing about being a book content creator is that people will be like, I read this book because of you, or I'm
yeah,
participating in this book. Like that is like the
mhm,
highlight for me. And then
yeah,
I'd be like, I told her like, it's sad when I'm seeing like, these white creators like not doing even a fraction of what I'm doing. There's no shade to them, but
mhm,
not even a fraction of what I'm doing. And then it's just like so popular, everyone loves them, this, that, and the other. And then I
mhm,
also said like, and then I feel that I have imposter syndrome, but that's also, that it's also like a historical trauma piece to that as well, of me
yeah,
feeling like I need to be creative, do this and do that. And I'm like, I shouldn't have to feel like I have to shuffle and jive just for
yeah,
people to want to participate or be a part of like Lock Petition. Like I
mhm,
shouldn't feel like I should be able to do the bare basic, the bare minimum, and just be fine and just
yeah,
be okay. Like I shouldn't have to feel like I have to jump all these damn hoops for master and the boss
mhm,
just to get what is it, recognition, what do you know what I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
uh
absolutely,
like that
yes,
word. So that's like one of the things I struggle with because I am a creative person and I have imposter syndrome like a mofo. And I'll be like, what's that line of being like, you can just be yourself in your basicness
mhm, mhm,
and still live your best. Like
yeah,
you ain't got to do all of this for these folks.
yeah.
So
I totally, yeah, like absolutely. There is a certain, expectation where, you have to go above and beyond to get the same kind of recognition as someone doing the bare minimum. And that's a little ridiculous, and like, as you said, that's just something that is just ingrained. It's like, why do like I have to keep doing all this stuff just to get a fraction of the attention of someone just doing the bare minimum, you
yeah.
know?
Yeah, and the truth of the matter is there will never be like a big black booktuber.
Right?
That's true. And that's
Mhm,
really sad truth. You
mhm.
know what I mean? I don't think, maybe I don't know when. I haven't seen it thus far. People who've been black and been in the community for over 10 years haven't seen it.
Yeah.
So it's just like I knowing that it's sad, but also take off the pressure a little bit
Yeah.
of being like, I don't have to do all this because people ain't coming anyway. So like it's, and the people who are here, what up?
Yeah,
Hey,
exactly.
I see
Mhm.
you. What's up? Let's rock. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's one of those things of being just like dealing with imposter syndrome and
Mhm.
also like historical trauma
Yeah.
and feeling like you have to grind.
Yeah.
It's just it can be a mind
Yeah.
f. You know what I mean? I'm
Yeah.
trying not to curse if you can see, but
You
I'm
can
gonna
curse on
make
my
it
channel.
clear. Yeah, I'm trying. It's mind fuck. So I be like, God damn. Yeah. Such a struggle
Oh.
out here in these streets. But yeah, I thought this too though. I was like, is this Loki? And I like Loki. I'm sorry to
I like
say it.
Loki
I
too.
know, I know he's toxic. I
I
know
love
Loki is
Loki.
toxic, but I like Loki. I
Lo
do.
I love Loki. Love
Yeah.
Loki.
I know he toxic. That man ain't good for nobody.
But I was seeing kind of and I meant to research this because I just whether, I see like the kind of similarities to Norse mythology, being the hammer, John Henry
Yeah.
Hammer, right? And then also mid-pass being Midgard, being Earth
Yeah.
in Norse mythology.
Oh
And so I
yeah.
kind of wanted to research about, kind of, and it's interesting because you wouldn't think that, being almost so separated, right? Norse mythology having any kind of similarities with, West African, mythology and
Yeah.
stuff, which is amazing. I just think that's, it's really great because it kind of solidifies the fact that I think it was on Twitter like 2 days ago. People were mad that this Black actress is playing a Viking in this show when
Yeah.
people don't realize that there were Black Vikings and Black people have been everywhere forever. So it's like, so
My
it's like
thing,
it just kind of solidifies that if the two, mythologies who seem to be so completely different have similarities,
I'm
they've been
putting
around.
on I'm putting on my anthropology degree hat.
Yes,
It's
do it.
common sense. Because when we think about human migration and
Yes.
how everyone goes and have been everywhere, when you think about like history and the paths of different people, of course. And I don't know why people think that like human beings are just like because they're in different hemispheres, sorry,
Mhm.
that information is still not being shared.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like you
Right.
can tell one person something and tell another person, another person, another person, another person, and they'll get to somebody on the other side of the town of whatever, the
Yeah.
world. And then different, worldviews can be mixed into other cultures as well.
Mhm.
So when we think about human migration, just human migration and human movement, with or without colonialization,
Mhm.
stories are being shared. And I also thought a little bit when I was thinking, like, is there Norse mythology? I like thought that for a second, but threw it out. But now that you've said all this, it definitely makes sense now. But
I wanted to look into it more, but I didn't have time because I literally finished the book like 5 minutes before we were
you
supposed to
know,
go live. So
just love it. When I thought about it, I was like, wow, this book. The reason why this book is also so powerful because people always be like, oh no, you can't mix mythologies. It's not gonna be good, or it's not gonna be relatable, and like it's not gonna be this, it's not gonna be that. And I'm like, Tristan came for your whole life and snatched your wig and took your edges and ran to the grocery store. So the fact that you think that combining things, and it's also one of those things, is like this is an example of an author writing from even like salt bay actions, putting salt bay actions of other people's culture in his book that he don't know, and it's still done well.
yeah. Mhm.
Like you can do it, you know what I mean? It just takes craft and sensitivity readers and all that jazz, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
Yeah.
yeah, so that's something I'd be thinking about.
Yeah. That connection, that's good. Never thought about that mid pass, aka Midgard. I like that. It just made me think, and reminds me to look into that further for sure.
Yeah,
Besides Loki, I didn't catch the similarities. That's what we're here for. The discussion is what we're here for.
that's what we're here for.
Bring on the
Listen,
wig and the
the
edges.
wig and the edges had to go. I'm like, just took their whole life. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Had them choked up in the closet somewhere. So it's rough.
Oh, the way stories were shared all that time ago makes sense. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
You
stories
know,
always shared. Yeah.
and just because it was harder to travel doesn't mean people didn't travel.
Yeah.
Like,
And back then, it was way more common for you to be an orator than you to be a novelist or a
mhm,
writer,
yeah,
right? Like
right.
nowadays, people be like, unless it's written down, we need the proof. Back then, it's like if you tell the story is gold, and the story is what the story is. You know,
Exactly.
what I mean? Like
Your word was your bond, and that's
right,
kind
and you
of,
have to pass stories on. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
for
So
sure. Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm just gonna go through my little washi tape annotations and just see if there's things that we didn't talk about yet. But
yeah. Because I prepped food and I'm ready to eat it. I was like,
eat it.
I prepped it all, and I'm like, I'm gonna actually cook it after this live show.
I should have done that, but I didn't.
Listen, I was
But I'm
struggling.
gonna make I'm gonna make those like lazy enchiladas for Cinco de Mayo, where you just take the taquitos and put them in the pan, and then put the enchilada sauce, and this instead of having to, yeah. I was like, I'm just gonna see how this is gonna turn out.
Have you had that before?
No, I haven't. I just like this just
Listen,
seems very easy.
I should have sent you. the view today. So there's this lady, she has a book a cookbook coming out. I want it. And she's from Tijuana, in Mexico. And she was saying that in Mexico, actually, which I knew, that no one celebrates Cinco de Mayo. That's really American.
Yeah.
And then she was saying the only place that celebrated is the place where the battle took place. So she was saying like, but there's like, foods, like her family and her where she's from that they make. So she made like, I think it was like arroz something. I forget even what it was in English, but it was rice something. And then she made like some kind of like pulled pork dish. And then everything she kept making. Whoopi Goldberg was like she could not stop eating it. Like she was trying to tell them about what's going on in the news. She got food all in her mouth. Like everybody was just killing this food. Like, and I was like, I need whatever on their plates.
Yes.
And then she was, like, if y'all want to make like, food from where I'm from, this cookbook is for you. And it looked like the way that she described things, and it didn't even seem like it was like that difficult of a way of making it, although you're going to make it very different from a person who comes, Tijuana. But but she like did that, and I was just like, wow,
I
this was
want that
really
cookbook.
good. Yeah, I was like, man. And then, it's just things. I just want somebody to teach me how to make menudo. I don't know where in Mexico that's from, but menudo is like my favorite soup. So I just need somebody to come on ahead and teach your girl, because I'm gonna need that. I'm gonna need it in my life.
My first job ever, I was a server at IHOP, and all of our line cooks were Mexican. And every like Sunday, even though it was supposed to, like, typically Sundays were our busiest days because, you get the after church crowd and stuff. So all the openers, when we would come in, they would just have this big pot of menudo, and people just be eating it throughout the day because, you're busy. You just kind
I
of
would
like take
never
a little
leave.
bowl. I know. I was like, oh my God, this is so good.
I would never leave. I'm like, yeah, I'm here for life. Material girl. It was on The View, today.
Yeah. I need that cookbook.
And come to find out, this chef, she's also like a personal chef for Queen Latifah. Like Queen Latifah be like, you free?
She's eating like that on the daily. Ah, jealous.
So it just makes me feel just like, damn, clearly I'm not doing life right. That I'm not out here eating the food. Yeah, it was on The View. I'm trying to remember, like, if I can find.
If you can, great. I will try to find it as well if you can. Michelle said for with the stories being shared, especially like being word of mouth, and basically if you told someone a story, they believed you, and especially if it's told from an elder, like if you had that, in either like a tribe or something like that. If you have like an elder, and for sure, absolutely, they had a little bit more weight behind their stories because they were a trusted member, and that's like a really
For me, in where I was raised, you trust an elder. They tell you something. Yeah.
Yep.
You know what I mean? That's what's up. So her name is Marcela, Villadolid. I'm probably saying that wrong. But that's her name.
Okay.
Right here. I'm gonna put it. Oh, that was not it. So sorry. That's her name. And it was like 4 dishes of good food, y'all. I was like, wow. I need to make every one of them, especially that first one. I'm probably gonna make it with like a roast instead of pork, but
yeah. Oh, that'd be really good.
Oh my God, like Whoopi was just messing it up. And I was just like, wow.
She's like, I have a whole job to do, but I cannot do it right now. I'm sorry.
I will be so disappointed if Whoopi don't have her come to her house and chef it up. I'm gonna be mad because like the other women were acting all like dainty, like they didn't want to eat the food. But Whoopi and Queen Latifah was eating that food. And I was like, I would have been in there eating it too. I was like, why y'all acting eat the food? Y'all on a diet? Ain't nobody got time for a diet. Love your body, your curves, and go ahead and eat that. But whatever, that's just me.
Laura said, especially since only the very rich could afford some sort of paper. Yes.
Yeah. Paper was expensive and very hard to make. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
yeah.
So.
Thank you, William. Good luck for me as well. I'm gonna sounds amazing. I need to try that. Yeah, I'm hoping this is gonna be my first meal that I haven't made in the air fryer. So I'm just gonna be like, dang.
Yeah. You're like, I got it. Oh yeah, she has a cooking channel. Bria, I like to see you do a cookbook review with a demo set. You know I'm always cooking.
That would be
Yeah.
if you got that cookbook, do a little.
Oh my God, maybe I should get that for myself. That cookbook. And it's bilingual. It's in Spanish and English.
Nice.
But like, let me tell y'all this. One of my best friends yesterday was like, Bree, I just don't know you living by yourself. And I said, what about me living by myself? She goes, I just, I fear for the day you live by yourself. She's like, what are you going to do with all your food?
You need a roommate just so you can.
And I said, I'm Southern. What do you want from me? I don't know what one portion size is. I've never seen it a day in my life. Like, what do you want me to do? I'm Southern. And she said, girl, I don't know how you're going to do it. Because the other day I made this really good, like, pulled chicken recipe. I just made it up with all these vegetables and stuff. And I, like, sauteed it and soaked stuff and put rice in it. And I put it all in the Instant Pot so it can just collaborate together. And it was really good. And I was like, shit, I made like 2 big Tupperwares of it after I already have eaten it. And I said, damn. So my roommate gets home from work because sometimes she works a different shift. She got home from work and I said, are you hungry? Because she said, oh my God, I was sitting at work being like, I'm starving and I don't have nothing to eat. And I said, hey, we got food.
That's so nice.
We've been eating it all week for lunch because I'm like, look.
Don't let it go to waste. I hate that when food goes to waste.
Oh yeah, I'm constantly like, yeah. And then I'm always like, I tried this new recipe. Can you try this? Like, can you just try this? And she's just always eats it, always down. My girl always down. She's like, yeah, I'm ready.
If you're giving it to me, I always put it in my mouth.
Always down. Like I have like all these different dumpling recipes. She tries it. Now I'm trying to make my own pasta. I'm like, oh, my own noodles and stuff. And she be trying. She try everything. I'd be like, yeah. Let's do this and do that. So, and the taquitos recipe. I know. Thing, look.
I'm gonna need luck.
That sounds like that can be either unusually good or disastrous.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's either gonna turn out very good or very poorly.
Yeah.
But I got my favorite red enchilada sauce from this little Mexican food store. Or it's like a restaurant, but you could buy just like their enchilada sauce. And I'm just like, it's my favorite. It's so good. So I'm like, this gotta help. It's gotta help, right?
I'm trying to see if I can find.
Oh yeah, Venus saying the cookbooks Hoopla has some cookbooks too, so maybe it could be on there. The suspense is real. I'll let you all know. I'll let you all know what happens.
Yes, you do. Oh, she has a tostada recipe. Ooh. Yeah, but this is what pork tongue. I don't eat pork. That's the struggle.
Can you do cow tongue? No.
I could. That's why I was like, no. We might have to switch it up.
Switch it. Yeah. I'm sure you could. I'm sure you could, and it would taste delicious.
Yeah. I'm trying to see if they have, because it's a new cookbook. Like it just came out.
Yeah. I mean, maybe it'll eventually be on.
Yeah. Let me see what Amazon talking about. I hate or
Not
bookshop. I might go to bookshop.
bookshop.
Dang, Marcella. And then I feel bad. Everybody in the audience got a copy of the cookbook. And I said, that ain't right. That really ain't right. Oh, it's $18.36. And she has it in hardcover.
Oh.
It's temporarily out of stock. Ain't that fucked up?
Of course it is.
I know. I feel attacked. I'm gonna say it.
Attacked.
I feel attacked and victimized.
It's terrible.
So I'll keep looking and try to find it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I won't keep y'all here with that.
I went through all my notes, and we did really talk about everything. I mean, we talked about it for a solid 45 minutes. But yeah, if anybody else in the comments have anything they would like to add, or Bree, do you have anything you would like to add?
5 stars, ready for book 2.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Same. And our next book is on my channel.
Race to the Sun by Rebecca
Roanhorse.
Now, I've read, what else have I read by Rebecca? I read,
oh my God, the second book just came out, Fevered Star. What was the first?
Trail of Lightning?
No.
I have that book. I haven't read it.
Trail of Lightning, I want to read. I haven't read it yet.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I haven't read it yet either. I have not read it. Where'd it go? Black Sun?
Black Sun.
I still need to read that too.
Yeah.
Fevered Star. Yep, that's the second book in that. All right.
Oh, I just realized why I liked one of the characters in Black Sun, because it reminds me of one of the characters in the Inherited series by N.K. Jemisin. Makes sense.
Oh, yes. Michelle says we're going to love book 2. I love it. I feel like this whole series is just going to be epic amazingness. It can do no wrong, honestly.
I'm ready.
William said, I've read the second Tristan book, and I set my reminder for the live stream. You're amazing.
You better.
You're amazing.
If you're not here, I'm going to have issue. I'm just kidding.
I'm going to message your mom and be like, where is he?
Yep. And I'm going to be like, wow, punishment? You're on putting. I'm just kidding.
You were grounded? Michelle's grounded.
Like, how could you? Oh. As I'm putting in the potatoes in the oven right now.
Put the potatoes in there. Put them in there. But put Trail of Lightning on pause only because my mood shifted. Okay, yes, pause. Pause for now.
Yeah. You know, PNF. That's what I say. PNF. Sometimes you just got to PNF.
Sometimes.
And nobody's out here judging.
Nobody. I wouldn't. Nope.
Yep. My iPad is at 3% though. I do want to let folks know.
Like if you suddenly disappear. But yeah, I think we're definitely just gonna wrap up now. William said, I'll be here. I would never abandon my 2 favorite people. You're so sweet.
It's us.
Yes. But yeah, so we'll see you. This is our only live for May. So we'll see you in June 9th for Race to the Sun by Rebecca Roanhorse. Okay. Everyone, thank you so much. Have a great night. I'm so glad we got to read this. I'm so glad we're still doing this because this book was just phenomenal and amazing and made me cry. And it's definitely 10 stars, 1,000 stars. Yep, loved it.
1,000 stars.
All right. Nothing. All right. Bree, have a wonderful night. Everybody watching on the replay in the comments now, have a wonderful night, and we'll see you next time. Bye.